And welcome to another Biddle on Saturday night. Full house already. Can you believe it?
G'day all.
Come on, cats. Stop.
We have Barb's cats in the house.
Yes, always. Saturday night comic relief.
It is not a full show without Barb's cats.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, especially when they take the back of my laptop screen and change everything. One just left. That's one less to worry about.
Like I said, we have a full house. We got Frank and Colin, and I didn't get to change all of the names for everybody, so apologies for that. So I'll try to get them through the show so that everybody can, see what their YouTube channel would be and everything. But we're going to start out, and we also have Spatry in the house tonight. He is back.
Who's that?
Welcome back, man.
Okay, well, it's good to be back. I miss being in the community and interacting with people and stuff like that. This was kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you happen to be like a cornerstone in the Linux community, so.
At my age, it's now kidney stone.
I've had 3 of those. Let's not talk about that.
Word.
All right, we also have Present Arms in the chat.
Hello there, Rocco. Hello,
How
everybody.
are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well,
Hello.
we had a chance to check out your distro this week, and we're all going to be super nice, right?
No. Say into me. I like to know the good and the smooth and the rough.
So who wants to go first? Zeb, you want to go first?
I can do, because mine will be short and sweet. I couldn't get it to install. I tried I downloaded the ISO 3 different times, wrote it with peppermints, mint sticks, Etcher, and then jumped onto Windows and used Rufus. And every time I would just get StarTex, couldn't work. So I then tried the trick of undoing 2 of my monitors and just having 1 monitor. And whether it was a 4K monitor or a 1440 monitor, I just couldn't get it to boot up.
For you.
Yeah, it just wouldn't. I couldn't even get to a live desk, so I couldn't even review that side of it. So, I'll have a little play around, see what you can do with the NVIDIA, and I'll give it another try.
Yeah, I would have to. Yeah, it has to be something to do with the NVIDIA drivers, because I do have 2 NVIDIA drivers installed. It's the latest one, 395, I think, and the 340 for older cards. And maybe that was what the problem was there, Zebedee.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll look into it, yeah, absolutely, definitely. Because if it's affecting mine, it's affecting the main distro as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't used PC Linux OS for years, so it would have been good to have a little play. But there you go. That was my experience.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
All right, Dan, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it went pretty well for me. I did have some issues with Steam. I was able to get it installed, and I was able to play some of the games, but some of the ones that I normally am able to play on that machine, I wasn't able to get to go. I don't know why, but it's probably hardware related. It's not the most current hardware, so I'm sure it had something to do with it. But other than that, I mean, everything's really snappy. There's a lot of stuff installed, and that's that's good for some, maybe. Not really my style. I like to kind of like start with nothing, and I really don't install a lot of stuff, but I mean, it went well, and it's in the apps that are installed are current, and they seem to go well. I mean, no real complaints here.
No, I'm pleased to hear that, Dan. That's excellent. Yeah, I'm pleased to hear that. That's a bit of relief after Zebedee's review there.
Yeah,
I bet it's still for somebody.
All fine. Everything went good. I mean, I messed around with it the whole week, so.
Excellent. Cool.
Frank?
Well, I only got to play with it for 2 nights. I'm kind of like Zeb. I was able to get to the desktop no problem and play around with it. But every time I tried to install it, I tried it on 3 different laptops and a desktop, and it would never quite install. It would go through the installation process, and then when it went to the final, let's install it, never made it. and I can't tell you what really went wrong. So it's probably me. But I played around live version, and I kind of had fun with it for a little bit. And then I had a sick friend pop up in the VA center over here, so I kind of had to quit playing with it. So I apologize.
Oh, no problem, Frank. I'll look into that as well while the install is playing it. Okay, that's fine.
Well, Spatry, I don't know how much time you've had to do anything lately, but have you checked out PC Linux Trinity PC Linux OS?
I haven't really had a chance to do that. Right now, I'm just getting adjusted to some new hardware because the show's coming back, and I'm getting things prepared for that. I have the only distributions I've really taken a look at, aside from Manjaro, is Solus, because I got a video of that coming up, and I have been meaning to have a look at Mint. I haven't seen it in a long time, so Mint Mate is also coming up. And then, of course, the big news right now is Steam's Proton. I had an opportunity to give that a try for the very first time last night. I'm very pleased with how that looks. And it runs some things great, but there are other things I think I'd much rather just run in play on Linux the way I run most things anyway. So I haven't had an opportunity to, so I feel a kind of a disadvantage here because I haven't had an opportunity to look at distribution. And really, I don't know. I feel like I want to take a kind of different direction with Cup of Linux this time around in this season. I am not sure quite yet what I want to do exactly. I think maybe more along the lines of a variety show where I have several topics instead of just one topic per episode. Still thinking on it. I still have a week before the show officially relaunches, so I've got a little bit of time for that.
All right, Colin, did you get a chance to check it out?
Yes, I did. I installed it. Everything ran pretty well for me. The only issues I had, I was going to make a video on it, but I could not get sound. So I had no sound coming through the mic. I did put the video on my other computer to see whether it was just the sound not coming out from the computer itself. But I just couldn't get nothing going on that now. I know it's Debian based, and sometimes you can have those sort of issues. So I've tried to add, I know I did with some other computers, the HDA or whatever it is, HDA Intel or something. I tried that didn't work. So I don't know whether I was doing it in the right file. It's been a while since I've done that sort of thing. So also had to, I downloaded it and installed it. I didn't even know what it was based on, to be honest. I just clicked the download button and installed. But there's no, I had to add the sudo file as well.
Yeah,
actually, and then that didn't work either, and I realised that sudo wasn't even installed.
Yeah.
So I had to install sudo as well. So I was a little bit confused as to what was going on. First, I'm thinking, is this not based on Debian? And I went looking around and searching around, trying to find that information. But the sound was the one big issue because I wanted to do a bit of a look around on it and upload that video, but I just didn't get the chance to do that. So, but Trinity Desktop, for me, I don't know, it doesn't play nice for me. And I agree with Dan. There's a lot of applications in there that I probably wouldn't use. So that could probably be slimmed down a bit in that regard. But it seems to be running fine. It just seems to be, for me, there's a lot of quirky things in the Trinity Desktop that
fair enough.
I think I'm just used to the modern technologies. I think it's running okay. So except for the sound issue at this point.
Yeah, I'd like to help you with that actually. Yeah.
Present Arms. Is there a reason that you didn't install sudo?
What it is, my distro is based on PC Linux OS proper, and the community there don't use sudo, they su. It's frowned upon. They call it in the way of Ubuntu, you see, and they're not exactly Ubuntu friendly people. So sudo is in the repositories, but you have to install it yourself. Then yeah, you use the vis sudo and add yourself to the wheel, and then you can use sudo. I was thinking about including it on the next ISO actually, and just not say anything, just have it there anyway. The same thing.
Nobody will notice.
No. Although it isn't Debian based, we do use a thing called apt3r for RPM. So Synaptic's there and apt-get's there. But the newer versions of Ubuntu, Debian, etc. use apt. It's shortened. So I could make an alias or even a symlink to apt. So they can do apt install instead of apt-get install. All those kind of little improvements I can do in future releases. So that's the feedback I've been getting so far.
I tried out your spin. It was fun to try out, I must say. But being probably more in the Debian world than most of the other people on this list, I'm gonna say I would avoid symlinking apt-get to apt because it just causes confusion in the Debian world. They're similar. They're almost the same.
Yeah.
But they don't do the same things on certain key commands. And we've discovered this with some of the stuff in our back end on MX. So I'm a firm believer that if something is what it is, leave it that way.
Yeah. Upgrade is a different thing, that it does a different thing.
Yeah, because
yes, and it does a different thing with the way it handles packages. So if someone expects one behavior, it's very easy not to get that same behavior.
No, I see where you go.
You don't get the same behavior with apt-get versus apt. You just don't. It does some weird things with the caches in the background, the way it stores the deb packages in the background.
The same with apt for RPM works in a way different way to Debian. So I could actually not symlink, but I could use it in the bash RC file for root as an alias. And
well, you could alias it.
Yeah, I could alias it. But the thing
I think it's kind of the same idea, because apt and apt-get aren't the same. If you're going to, I use apt-get for anything. And if you read the man
I appreciate
pages,
what you're saying, but we don't have the apt program itself. We just have apt-get, you see. There is no apt program.
That's what I'm saying. Just leave it apt-get. Just don't use apt. If you check out the man pages too, all the stuff that talks about putting it in the scripts, everything is like, well, if you put the scripts, apt-get's interface is stable and apps isn't. And so I just leave it
apt, because if they see that they have to use apt and they go look for the man page and they see the apt from Debian and have different values that are like different commands, operators and stuff, that's
the other thing. Commands are slightly different.
Yeah, very slightly different. Yeah.
Although in Debian right now, in Debian Stretch, if you do an apt dist upgrade, that works. It didn't used to, but now it works.
Because they used to have a full upgrade. I think they still do both now.
They do both. That's what they do. They do both.
Yeah, it's the same for me. If you do apt-get update and apt-get upgrade, that will break the system. You have to do apt-get update and apt-get dist upgrade to update the system. It's something wrong with the. There's a bug in the apt-get version that PC Linux OS uses. We know about it. We are trying to sort it out so it doesn't break the installs all the time. Because that has been a problem in the past.
Yeah, going back to sudo though, present arms, just be careful of. You probably are aware that the forums over at PC Linux OS can be a tad ferocious when they've got something there that they don't particularly like.
Zebedee, I made a post. There was a user, by name is Yanni, and he was complaining that he couldn't get sudo. So I explained to him how to get sudo. Next thing I know, I've got a private message within the forum saying, I've removed your post because you're single. So I went to the forum post, right, because he's got a sticker in one of the forum categories, why we don't use Sodom in the way Ubuntu or any list. But it does say at the very last line, if you give instructions, make sure they know the dangers of sudo, which I did. So I replied back to him, and he's been a bit cold with me since, like, because I pointed out to him, you should remove my post because sudo is in the repo. And if a program's in the repo, we have a right to support that program. If you didn't want sudo to be used, don't have it in the repo. That was my argument.
I mean, you kind of have an obligation to support it if it's going to be there available.
But that's what I'm saying. I had an obligation to. That was my feeling anyway. That I had an obligation.
So I missed the part where you said their reasoning for not including it. What was it?
It's in the way of Ubuntu because sudo can be abused in certain ways. Although this was back in the early Ubuntu days, sudo wasn't strengthened. So basically, they figured out if you could hack an Ubuntu box, and you got their username, you could do things as root because you already had the password for the username. Because you have to do a sudo and use the password for the username to do whatever you need to do under root. So
yeah, but if you
this is going back 10 years or so.
Yeah,
this is back.
That hasn't been a problem for years.
No, it hasn't. But,
Yeah, but that's absolute nonsense because if you can get in on someone's username, all you got to do is, sudo password root, and you can change the root password anyway, and then go straight in as su. So
yeah, that's kind of true. This is why they don't include sudo in the distribution itself.
Don't include it, but then don't beat the hell out of someone just because they try and explain to somebody how to use it. That's just
that's exactly what I was saying. They beat me. Yeah. They beat me up over it, and I'm going no. So
that's ultimately why I left PC Linux OS. It was a great distribution, but I just could not ask simple questions in the forums. So
what I do, and I don't take no for an answer. They know me out there. I just go for it. Like, as long as I'm civil, what I'm asking for.
Yeah,
Well, we know Barb tried.
Yes,
right?
I did. I tried the live USB.
Yeah.
And the first time I did both the Trinity desktop and then the Mate desktop, since I'm an Ubuntu Mate person. And what I found with the, when I first tried the Trinity, it would not. I have a ThinkPad 440S. It would not install. It wouldn't even boot. So I took the exact same one and I plugged it into my XPS 13, and I was able to use the live one. So that's what I tested everything on. Okay. And so it did work. So I don't know why it didn't like the 440S, but oh well. The thing that I didn't like, it hit me like as soon as I saw it, it was like, this looks like XP. I realize that's the idea, is to give people a feeling of comfort, but it would have been nice to see something a little bit more updated, a little more modern looking or something.
Well, the Trinity desktop is based on the OKG 3.5, which
okay, right.
That's Windows like in itself anyway. Yeah, but I do take it on board. I could do with more with theming, like QoS has an excellent. But if you look at QoS, Q4OS, so rather, that is very much like XP. Yeah. Even the dialog boxes are the same, and it's kind of pretty. And I did try to step away from that to not make myself a clone of Q4OS. So I applied my own themes and so on. But no, that's taken on board. That is no problem.
Oh, I mean, I understood it so that it didn't. It just, to me, that would be a turnoff because of the way it looked. But the next thing was that I tried to use my printer. I mean, I have certain things that I like to check, and if they work in the live, then I know they'll work on hardware.
Right.
And the first time I tried to set up my printer, the whole thing crashed. It just went belly up, X's in the eyeballs, and that was it. So I had to restart it. And then the second time it was able to connect to my HP printer. And I've never had a problem with this printer working with any different distro. But it took forever to find it. So that's but that's something you do it once and you're fine. And it was able to, I couldn't scan because it said that the drivers had to be downloaded for the scanner.
Okay, right, yeah, it fetches the drivers from the I guess.
Yeah. And so then, so that was, so I tried that one. Then I said, okay, let me try the one with the Mate desktop, which is actually a smaller ISO, much smaller.
Yeah, it's part of the proper PC Linux OS range. They have KDE and Mate official, the rest of the community distros.
And the interesting thing was that overall, on the same exact machine, it actually ran faster than the Trinity. I mean, significantly, where I didn't have a stopwatch to check, but I could tell it ran faster. And let me see, I have a whole bunch of things here.
Barb's got a list.
I'm glad this is a recording afterwards. I can go back on it.
There is a string of Post-it notes on her monitor right now that she is reading. You can just tell from her eyeballs that went high.
Anyway, okay. So
sorry, Barb.
And the thing is, what you've got to realize is that I'm not somebody who usually even tests any of these distros, so this was fun for me. Okay.
Up, another sticky note.
Another, so I'm reading my sticky note. The thing that with even with the Mate version, it couldn't see, and I had the same problem with the Trinity version. It couldn't see my file server. That to me is a must. Now, is it that you don't have that stuff in, and I would have had to like connect everything manually?
Yeah, no. There's in the PC Linux OS control center, you can connect to Samba servers and NFS servers.
Right.
But it may have to download some when it goes through a wizard, and the wizard does the work for you. So you just input your details, and it should connect.
Yeah, I was able to get connected to my Samba share.
So you would actually have to download it to be able to download the Samba share stuff.
So I'm thinking that if I take the advice of Dan, he was a bit bloated with all the software. If I strip some of the stuff out, I can add the NFS and the Samba and all that kind of business to the ISO instead.
Right.
Bring it down in size a little bit. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Or maybe you could do a light version.
There is a light version already, Zeb, and it's a friend of mine that does it, and he does a really stripped down version of it. It's also hosted on the same site, on the TrinityPCLRX.com site, and he called it Mini-Me.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, the Mini-Me is the stripped down version. It literally has nothing on it apart from the bare Trinity desktop, and you have to add everything to it afterwards.
I'll give that a try.
That I was thinking.
Really nice little spin, actually.
If you're trying to make this, appeal to newbies, Linux newbies, you really do need to have it when it installs on the machine to have those Samba shares and make sure it's got the scanner stuff, the scanner drivers and stuff like that, because the newbie's not even going to know that you have to go find that stuff.
No, you're right, Bob. No, you're absolutely right, Barbara.
I realize that you don't want to make it bloated, but I don't think that's bloat. I think that's necessary utilities.
Right, yeah.
I think it should just download like when you enable it. I think I actually did that on Ubuntu like a few days ago. Like when I went to actually share a folder, it just told me, hey, this needs to download to be enabled. And I literally just clicked a button.
That's what their control center does. It'll tell you when you go to share a folder, it'll say, hey, you need to install Samba server. And there's a button and you click it and it installs and it's fine.
So it doesn't need to be installed because it's just like one click.
But you got to do that through you can either do it the manual, old school, whatever way, or you can hit their control center, the PC Linux OS control center, and there's the Samba stuff there. So.
Yeah. But I think in a way, especially if you're trying to gear it though to relatively new users, some of that stuff should just be in the ISO. So it's like when it installs.
That can be done. That can be done.
That's just my personal thing.
No. That's valid. Absolutely valid.
I thought it was. I spent a lot of time with it this week, mostly because I've been curious about the Trinity desktop for a long time, because Mepis, of course, was based on when I started with Mepis way back when, it was based on KDE 3.5. And so this was nice to check out and everything. And boy, you're right. It is like wizard heavy, right? Because it's all very Windows 98. But in a way, that was very comforting because you knew what it was supposed to do. If you remembered XP, actually, not XP. If you remembered Windows 98, it was the interface. The Trinity interfaces are very similar. In regards to the way the wizard type interfaces work. Now, some of the control center stuff is like typical KDE 3, right? It's like 1,000 options. And it took me a long time to find the compositor settings, but that's my failing. I
build it, and I still can't find the compositor settings.
I wish I could tell you where I found them, but I literally just clicked on 100 KDE settings, Trinity settings, TDE settings.
Hold on, Dolphin. Hold on one second. Spatcher, you got to leave?
Yep, it's way past my bedtime. I'm not used to sitting up this late, so unfortunately.
Hey, thanks for coming. Hopefully you can make it because we do this every week. So hopefully you can sit out some time for it. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Sleep in next Saturday.
Yeah. Take a nap or something.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for having me, though, and have a wonderful show, everybody. Take care.
Thanks so much.
Thank-
Good to see you
Very
back.
nice to see you back.
I have one other thing that I forgot to say. Is that on the Mate version, you really need to have the Mate control center. And
Right.
you don't.
Okay.
And
Right.
that's because if somebody's going from, let's say, Ubuntu Mate to this or whatever, or they're familiar with the Mate desktop, they kind of expect to see it. I know I did, and I was very surprised that I didn't see it. So that would just
Present Arms, who is the target audience for this? Like Bart's been talking about new users and stuff, but who do you feel the target audience for this is?
Well, when I upload an ISO, I make a description on the web page, and I always put intermediate. I never say beginner; it's always intermediate. The target audience for PC Linux OS itself is a beginner for their Plasma desktop and for the Mate. I've never actually used the Mate desktop on PC Linux OS. I never have. I've used the Plasma. I've used LXQs. I've done a review of that on my channel. But yeah, but what I will do, Barb, is I will go back to the forum and I will ask whoever does. I'm not even quite sure who builds the Mate version. I assumed it was Techstar himself, the truth. But if it isn't, I'll find out who it is and I'll ask him. Yeah, put the control center in because it helps a lot. But yeah, but I do know that control center. It's a nice tool.
Yeah, and I think maybe the reason they didn't put it in was they were trying to save space, which I can understand.
The control center wouldn't take that much.
No,
You're
it doesn't.
talking megabytes in space, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like downloading 0 AD like I did on one of my ISOs, you know, the 4.86 gig ISO. You know, I'm going, no. I was just trying to please everybody, though. That's the problem.
All right. So, Dave, what'd you think?
I actually liked it. Like Zeb, I've got an NVIDIA card. The only issue I had, though, is during the install and the first boot, all the dialogues came up dead square between my two monitors, you know, stretched across
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
half of them. And I couldn't move it to one monitor or the other. It stayed right where it was. So that was a little annoying on the install and first boot, but it was nice for me that the NVIDIA drivers were there, you know, as default. It set up nice. Once I got in and figured out that sudo wasn't in there.
Fair enough. I'm going to get a lot of flack for no sudo. And that's what I do non-stop.
I just assumed that, you know, I went immediately to Synaptic and did a search for it, and there it was. So I installed it, and that made it easy. Because I actually, Das Geek, Ryan, stole a setup script from somebody that he tweaked for himself, and I have taken it and built it up from there, but it's all based on sudo.
Right.
So I
borrowed.
Needed that. I put that in.
Borrowed.
The only other real issue I had with it was sound. The sound came through my headphones real fine, but I couldn't change any of the sound settings no matter where I went. I couldn't get it to come out of my speakers, couldn't set which microphone to use. So the sound issues were the only real issues I had. Everything else, it was just, it all worked. It was just a matter of hunting down where the settings were or what apps I needed and going and getting them. But I found everything that I needed.
Well, the one thing I did
enjoyed it
with the sound is that the K-Mix applet that Trinity comes with doesn't really play nicely with Pulse Audio. So on my system myself, I'm usually in Pulse Audio volume control where I can swap the microphones and so on. I think that's about the only place. I mean, I can go to configuration. I have two sound cards. I have one for the HDMI, one for the built-in Intel. And yeah, there's some. If I have both on at the same time, I'll notice that some apps will actually try to go through the HDMI port, although there's nothing connected to it. Therefore, I'll get no sound. So I'll make sure that's turned off. And then I have to go to the input devices. And at the moment, headset microphone, but to use the laptop microphone, I have to use the drop-down box and choose it manually. So yeah, it's not exactly all automatic.
That's probably what my issue was, because my headphones are USB, and then my speakers are actually running off of the motherboard.
Yeah, you have to go into the input configuration, well, the output configuration, output device, and tell it per application, if need be, which speakers you want to send the sound channel to through pulse audio volume control.
I kept trying to set it up globally instead of on per application, so I think
that may be the problem, because I have had that issue myself, but that's nothing I can do personally. That's just something to do with your desktop.
Still have it. I'll throw it back in, and I will give that a try.
Okay.
In the icy dock.
In the icy dock.
There you go.
Your eject works on yours, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to jump in right there because I had pretty much the same experience that you had, Dave, where the same issue with the dual monitors as far as the install coming up in the middle, can't move it. I mean, it wasn't a big deal because the install didn't take very long.
Right.
And I had the same issue with the sound. Couldn't change the sound output. But other than that, I mean, I started on KDE 3.5. So it brought back so many memories and so many settings that I completely forgot that were there. It was actually a nice trip down memory lane to see all of those settings. Now, I'm glad I'm back on Plasma KDE Neon right now, but I really did enjoy seeing the Trinity desktop and everything it had to offer. So it ran great for me. I didn't try Steam on it. So I did watch your videos, Present Arms, on getting Steam to work. I just had such a busy week at my day job that I didn't have time to do anything else with it. So the couple days that I did run with it, it worked fine for me.
Excellent. Good to hear, Rocco. Really good to hear.
EB in house.
Hey, mate.
Yo, EB.
Hello, EB.
And he doesn't have his sound working.
He can't hear us yet.
Did he distro hop again?
Probably.
He's just extremely silent.
Well, while we're waiting for EB, I would like to add a few things. I don't know how much of this is the PC Linux base that you use for your spin, or how much of it's the spin. But this machine right here, and forgive the MX Linux sticker because I do that.
That is my second favorite distro. I've got to be honest with you. I've got MX Linux on the other machine.
Yes.
Grazie. Very good. We like to hear that. Debian. Woo.
Honestly.
Right. So this machine has a 32-bit UEFI, and it's notoriously bad at everything. So it's only about half the distros that'll boot on it now that it come out 64-bit anyway. So it would not boot at all on this machine from the live stick because of the UEFI. That machine I cannot put in legacy mode. It does not have a legacy mode. So that was it. That was my first stumbling block. Not necessarily your fault. That is a piece of crap machine. Okay. Second thing is I went to my usual testing machine. That ran okay. It ran live great. Really, I was rather impressed how well it ran on 2 gigabytes of RAM. Trinity desktop looked fine. It looked really sharp. Got my internet connection up and running, although pretty old school with the Trinity wizard interface on the network connection. I felt like it asked like 4 questions more than it needed to, but because you only really need one these days is what we're used to. But that's how it worked back then, so that's all right. But it kernel panicked on reboot as soon as that install was done. Ran fine live. Kernel panicked on reboot. Doing a little quick search in the PC Linux OS forums, maybe an issue with your the initial RAM image that the system uses to boot the rest of the system. Not including the drivers for in my case, the eMMC block device, basically the world's cheapest SSD drive. But also I see a lot of people mentioning that NVMe devices aren't listed there. So anybody and I asked in the Telegram group and a few people got back to me, but I don't know how many people with NVMe or eMMC block device. God, those are hard to say on the microphone. It's a good thing I don't podcast for a living. That would be hard.
Non-volatile memory.
Whatever. Those things, those drives, I'm not sure. You would not know until you were done installing that it would fail because the USB worked fine. So I actually went to 3 computers before I got one that would install and reboot. And it's actually on my test partition on my production machine right now. And that's working fine. That's a ThinkPad. And literally the only thing that was wrong with the ThinkPad, besides, well, the brightness keys didn't work, but I don't know, was the middle mouse button on the ThinkPad, on the track point on the ThinkPad. I haven't run into that for a while, that not working. And that actually made the single click on until I figured out that wasn't working. I thought the menu was broken.
Oh, right, okay.
Because I was just selecting random things.
You were saying you were having single click problems.
No, he was not.
Actually, it turned out to be a track point problem, and I could figure that with X, and that was fine. But yeah, it felt at first. I spent like a day and a half thinking I had a single click problem with the menu.
But we know that we have.
I'm slow. It takes me a while to fix things.
Well, I was just letting Rocco know that double click's better. That's all.
No, double click is not better.
I have to join the double click.
No, Dolphin, no. Please.
MX ships single click by default, but I think I mentioned once that MX Tweak, one of the features in there is to turn off all the single clicks.
But can I ask you, Dolphin, why you would put it as the default?
There's more than just me running that distro. That's what I'm going to say.
but there has to be a reason why you would put it as default. I mean, it must be popular.
Oh, no, arbitrary.
It is apparently popular.
Distro.
Apparently,
it is for
the distro creator wanted it.
For unfathomable reasons, it's popular.
Apparently, it's popular.
When I first started on Linux,
every time something happens,
first thing I turn off.
Weird default.
Hold on. We can't all talk at once. Nobody in the that's not going to benefit anybody.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody in the watching is going to be able to hear us. Present Arms, what were you saying?
I was saying back in the day when Linux was first around, the earliest Slackware day, they was single click as opposed to the Microsoft's double click, and it was done on purpose. So the original Linux was single click.
Yeah,
it was set up for double click. And if you're happy with double click, that's cool.
My point is always nothing to do with what whatever anybody says is like the best experience for whatever. It doesn't matter when there's like hundreds of millions of people expecting double, and that's like automatically what it should be.
Yeah, it's all subjective. A lot of people.
He did it because of peer pressure from Biddle.
I think so. That's why MX has it too.
It predates Biddle, thank you very much, but that's okay.
Go ahead. Present Arms, what did you need?
Could I just address something that Dolphin did bring up about NVMe drives and MMCE? The problem was the kernel has been the INISRD has been updated to accept NVMe, so it should work on NVMe drives. There is a experimental version for eMMC drives, but I believe that isn't working properly either at the moment from what I've gathered in the forums. The problem with that is that anyone who actually builds our distro has something with that hardware, so they can't test it outright. It's like me, I don't have any NVIDIA hardware with me at the moment, so when I include the drivers, I assume they work because they work on the normal distro, and my base is based off their distro, if you see what I mean.
Is there
but the NVMe should work. If you got an NVMe M2 drive, you shouldn't have any issues with it now, because that has been tested. But we wasn't able to test the eMMC because that's just totally. We haven't got the hardware to test it on. Is basically the problem.
Person or address we could send eMMC hardware to if you guys need testing materials?
The best thing to do would be to talk to Techstar. He's he's the founder of PC Linux OS. He's rather ill at the moment, but yeah, see him or I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of it. Terry N. He's also one of the lead developers over there. That'd be the best two people to talk to.
That seems like a big problem nowadays, as far as regardless of the technology. It just seems that lack of hardware has a lot to do with a distro not working properly on specific hardware, because you just don't have every piece of hardware to test it on.
Mm-hmm. Toss in the house.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
It's been a while, Rocco. How you been?
Awesome. What's going on?
I'm just enjoying the late summer evening. I have to get up early tomorrow and do my grass. Cut it, not smoke it. Cut it. Just want to
Right.
make sure on the same page here. But
This is a family-friendly.
Yeah, I know.
We would
Yeah.
cut it. We would cut it, not smoke it.
Yeah.
What do you
Although
cut it
now
with?
it's legal in Ohio, but I'm not.
That it is.
Yeah.
EB, you're muted. You know that. I'm just saying. Throwing
Toss.
it out there.
Best position to be in.
Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? Lovely to see you all.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening, EB.
I was just sitting here thinking it's a damn good job we've got the stunning Bendy Wendy and the absolutely gorgeous Barbara, because otherwise this is Ocean's 20 people.
This is blown up. There's a lot of people here. Holy crap.
And that this is like an extra large Brady bunch here, you know.
Hollywood Squares, maybe?
Yeah.
It's like advanced Hollywood Squares.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's try to get through the rest of everybody here. Gideon, did you get a chance to try Trinity this week?
I tried to, but it wouldn't. I couldn't even boot the live environment.
Oh, yeah? And what were you trying to boot it on? Like, what hardware were you trying to do?
I've got an AMD Radeon R7 integrated graphics.
Okay.
I wonder why I wouldn't boot. Well, either way. Wendy, did you get a chance to check it out?
I tried out the live. So it booted just fine for me live. My first issue came, I have 3 screens, and they're all, different brands and different sizes, and so I was trying to get them adjusted, and it absolutely freaked out. It wouldn't move things to where they were supposed to be. So I rebooted into live again and just decided I'd stick to the one screen that my mouse would go on. And I played with it for a little while. I opened Firefox and did some searching, and even played with GIMP for a while, and all of it ran really good. If I wouldn't have known that GIMP 3.10.4 was on there, I wouldn't even known that software was available. Because looking at the overall look of it, I would have thought, oh, well, it's old software. So that was really neat to see that even though maybe good night, honey. But even though the ISO was a little heavy, if I hadn't seen that in there, I would have known that it was software available for Trinity.
Right.
So
Yep.
other than, that minor issue, Trinity's not a desktop I would run, but it ran great otherwise.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, it's not for everybody. Everybody has their own desktop and their own workflow. And you choose a desktop, whether it be Plasma, Mate. I'm going to say Mate because that's what I call it. Mate.
Yeah.
Hey, you call it what you want to, man.
Yeah, Cinnamon, Trinity, open box, order WMs as well. You go to what suits your workflow, and Trinity isn't going to be for everyone, the same as like Plasma isn't for everyone and so on. So yeah, those are valid criticisms, really, not a problem at all. And I'm glad that you found GIMP, because that's an excellent piece of software.
Yes, I love it. GIMP's one of my daily use programs, so it was so cool to see it in there and see a really recent version of that software in there. Because right now they're really point releasing very
At
often.
the time I released it, but there's been another couple of point releases since then.
Yeah, they're at 0.6 right now, but you're still really close. Even the RPM Fusion for Fedora is stuck at 2.8 right now.
Wow.
They're not on 2.10 in RPM Fusion, so you're doing good.
Thank you.
Nice. Well, Matt, come on. Tell me you tried Trinity. You're muted. You're muted, just so you know.
I know. Trinity. I have used Trinity before.
Matt, remember, this is not your channel. You gotta be friendly.
I think you'd have to be more worried about EB going off than me. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Those are fighting words, EB.
I think a little attitude.
Spill your boots. You won't go.
I did not try this, and I'm just gonna say, when I look at a distro combination and I just say that's odd, That says a lot because I use a lot of weird distros. RPM distros just don't do anything for me. I was busy setting up the new workstation that I got, and I had no interest in it really. And that's not a slight on the distro or the combination of stuff. I just had no interest in setting up. Like I've used Trinity before, like when we did Sparky.
Right.
Trinity and Maniquari as the combination of desktops. 3.5 was great. I did a video on Trinity when we went to KD4. Like
You mean when they killed it?
Well, yeah, like when like 7 years ago, I had it. So to me, it's old tech. Like why you want to maintain that, I don't know, but great impressed to those that do. It's a lot of hard work, I imagine, but to me, it's not something that floats for me as far as
That's fair enough, Matt. No problem there. It's not for everyone, Matt. No problem.
So Matt loved it. All right, Joe.
Big fan. A big fan.
Joe, what do you think of it?
I'll say this before you do. I was MIA last week, although I can't use that as an excuse. I did not try it.
There's no excuses here.
Because I watched the show. I was under the weather, so I was MIA, but I didn't even type in the chat, and I did watch it, but I did not give it a run because I still wasn't feeling good during the week. That is my excuse. And I do want to say one thing for the record, even though he's not here with Ryan. Ryan doesn't really steal scripts. He permanently imports them. Let's put it that way. Even though he says
Such a nice.
but, you know, I did not try it. I am curious, and I probably will give it a go around maybe this week, even though we're gonna probably have another challenge. So, but yeah, and I did miss you guys last week, by the way. So.
Mhm. And you're right, Joe. It's open source, so you're just utilizing what's there.
Exactly.
All right, Jacob, did you end up trying it or no?
No, I didn't even see your show last week. So
Oh,
sorry.
well,
What? Where's
what?
that mute button?
Get back to being muted. Matthew, did you try it at all?
No, I did not. Yeah, I'm back from like a long time ago. I went on like 2 episodes, but I'm sort of with the other Matt on the whole idea of like, at first I was sort of like Trinity desktop as a whole. Where does it fit in the world of Linux, you know? But I sort of see like initially I was under the impression that like mate or mate or whatever it's called sort of was like a similar relationship, because it was like created initially when GNOME went to GNOME 3, sort of like KDE, and so I do want to give it a fair shot because I do now like mate after giving it a try. So I'm planning on trying it out this week.
Nice. So maybe you'll have 2 distros to try out, that one and the one we're going to do this week.
Yep.
All right, Chicken. Come on, tell me you tried it.
Well, okay, buddy. Yes, I did. And maybe sometime in the future it can be like another mate. It's possible. I mean, I could see that. I'm just not a fan of it. I felt like I was in a time machine and it was going in the wrong direction. So, I mean, it's a cool idea. I just don't think it has any benefits over something like Plasma, which, you know, is already lightweight enough as it is and is flexible. So, just wasn't of
Okay.
interest to me.
So it's not for you.
No.
All right. Scrap Joel has not been here for a few weeks. Months?
Like,
Come on,
summer.
dude. Like, what's going on?
The band got busy and the family grew by a member. And
Nice.
Congratulations.
So yeah, 5-month-old
Congratulations.
added to the 4-year-old kid with my son. And
There are priorities in life, Scrap.
Yep.
Trying distros is one of them.
yeah. Oh, I have tried some extra distros, just not on my desktop.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have
Talk to me.
I have a little Raspberry Pi over here to my side.
Sweet.
with the 7-inch touchscreen, and when it boots up, it's Debian-like with a Fluxbox on it. And then it boots Sunbox, which Sunbox is a software synthesizer. And
Nice.
this is going to be a part of my rig when I go play gigs.
I knew it had something to do with audio.
Yep,
Sunbox is amazing.
So, and that's two USB MIDI controllers and one of those cheap $20 Behringer 2-in 2-out interfaces and a 4-port USB hub. And then I've got one of those Logitech K400s for, sequencing.
So basically, you're saying everybody who blames hardware as an issue with these distros is all wet behind the ears because you got it working on all kinds of hardware there.
Yeah, and literally Sunbox. This isn't me getting it working on anything. Like Sunbox runs on little Palm PCs and Nokia phones.
Okay.
If you go look it up, that guy is out of Russia and he's a madman. It runs on iPhone, Android, desktop, every kind of desktop architecture you can think of. Windows, Mac, and Linux.
Oh, yeah, I trust Russians. Yeah.
I've installed it on all distros I've ever had, Sunbox, and I've never had any issues with it, like, none not working, compatibility. It's always just pretty much worked. So
yeah,
I'm sort of impressed with it.
It's super stable. The only issue I ran into with this was with USB. Sunbox can use OSS, it can use Pulse, ALSA, and Jack, and it'll also start up its own little Jack server if you have it installed. But if you already have Jack running, it'll just patch into what you already have running. So the problem I had was when I had 2 MIDI controllers, USB, and the USB audio interface plugged in directly to the Pi, it would freak out and Sunbox would keep crashing. It wouldn't find the Behringer 2-in 2-out. Well, what I found out was that one or more of my MIDI controllers had issues where it would, because MIDI is also technically an audio thing, it shows up, they show up as devices also. So it had to see Behringer first and then catch the main bits of the audio thing, and then after that, then it could grab my MIDI controllers and everything. It was weird. So that's why I have them on a 4-port hub. It just works that way. So there's always a little thing to work out. But USB is one of those weird ones where, like, if you unplug it and you plug it back in, it creates a whole nother virtual USB. If you do LS USB, plug it in, pull it out, put it back in, it'll have another number next to it on the next one and the next one and the next one. So you have to reboot the whole thing for it to reset all the USBs. It's weird. But it works really well. Now that I figured it all out, all I do is hit the power switch and Pi comes on and plug it into the soundboard.
Cool.
Nice. All right, Dolphin, you already gave your opinion on Trinity. You want to add anything?
I got at least 2 things, but I only remember one of them right now. Every now and Wendy kind of reminded me. Every now and then, the window manager just kind of go berserk. And if I was in a TDE app, it would double type or triple type or quadruple type. So if I hit 1 D key, it would give me 2, 3, or 4 Ds. I had all 3 instances happen, but that would not happen if I was in the terminal. So I'm laying the blame for that on the X server parts of the mess. I don't really know what's going on there. The only way I could get to resolve it was to log out and log back in. And it wasn't that it was displaying the characters; it was actually typing the extra characters in. So it was a little weird. I forget the other one, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was neat. I really like when people make spins of stuff, and Trinity's not one you see very often because it just doesn't get into very many of the mainstream repositories. So I thought it was neat to see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take that on board.
Oh, I did get mine looking very nice after I figured out where the compositor setting was. After I found it that one time, I found it. It was. Now I got like a really nice terminal.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I remember the other thing, and this is again, I think, laid down to the window manager in Trinity. Is if you open up Firefox and you go to the Firefox option, you got the latest Firefox, so that's awesome. But you get down to the Firefox option to get rid of the title bars. That does not work in KDE, or rather TDE.
Oh, okay.
Don't know why. I just tried the same version in MX just in XSE just now, and yeah, it's working there. But I think it works in like Flexbox and stuff like that. So I don't know what the deal is there. But that's that's the Trinity desktop, and it looks fine. I mean, it looks fine. It just didn't go away when I thought it would. But yeah, that was fun.
Nice. All right. Keegan? Where's Keegan at? Oh, no. Adam. Adam, what's going on?
No, I didn't get a chance to try Trinity, but I did use KD3 back in the day, and it was fun. But you know, things move on, people move on. I've been mostly spending my time trying to get Linux running on the Surface Book 2, but no success.
Matt, can you help him out in that respect? Matt, come on.
Fun.
Yeah. Surface Book 2, it should be working. I can throw you the Reddit thread that they have going on about, I think it's Surface for Linux or Linux Surface or something.
Oh yeah, I think it's Surface Linux, right?
Yeah, something like that. It should tell you what's working, what's not, and what might be some issues with it.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I keep getting the installation. I kept getting in the installer crashing, but I figured out that if you just go to install Ubuntu instead of try Ubuntu,
yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
What version of Ubuntu are you trying?
It's 1804. Yeah, and that actually did get it to work. I'm just messing with it right now, because I was trying to get Fedora on it, but that wouldn't
no, it's not going to work.
But yeah, it's actually my work laptop. You know, priorities. So, but yeah, they won't mind.
Well, welcome to the stream there, Adam.
Hey, thanks.
And another guy that hasn't been here for a while, Pete. Pete, you got your audio working?
Doesn't sound like it.
No, I don't think so.
He's not muted, and yet I can't hear him. So
audio issues on Linux,
and Pete usually has a great sounding mic too.
He does.
It's probably just Zoom setting or something like that.
He's just trying out BSD. It's fine.
No,
I had
nothing,
the same
Pete.
problem doing Sparky Linux and tried to get on here with Sparky Linux, and it did work. So I can understand his problems.
It's probably a Zoom thing, because that's usually what it ends up being. But JJ, welcome to the stream.
How's it going, you guys? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you, brother. What's going on?
First time on the stream. Just discovered your stream today. Well, as of yesterday. I've been a observer of the Destination Linux podcast for a while, and you guys are doing a good job so far. I'm also a participant in the Mumble Room on Linux Unplugged. So
nice.
Not my first rodeo for Linux fandom. So if you want to know about me, I'm just still a dual booter noob.
All right, my kind of guy. Yeah, schmucks unite, right?
I rarely use Windows. It's only for dire emergencies, and I haven't had a dire any sort of need to boot into Linux. So
nice.
I'm trying to get my workflow from Windows to Linux. Still, there's still some programs that are not able to run on Wine or anything like that, such as the university printer driver that doesn't want to. The company does not want to support Linux.
Yeah.
JJ, the only thing I'd like to say is do beware of Toss. He does have a weekly caddy trunk meeting for anybody who's not.
That's in the shop
And don't
tonight.
expect the transition to be fast. I've been dual booting for over 20 years, so it's not something that automatically leads to pure Linux right away.
It's possible, to be fair. To be fair with me, I'm using 80-90% Linux, 10% Windows 10. I never thought I would say that, but Linux has gotten better. I can't totally get rid of Windows 10, not yet, but I mean the last 5 years Linux, it's the strides have been very, very intriguing for me as a Windows
Like
user.
the first time
Yeah.
I've ever experimented with Linux was like in high school, so it's been a well. I mean, compared to you guys, I'm probably my jump from high school to now is probably shorter than many of you guys is.
Well, what did you start out on, JJ?
Calling us all old.
As I say,
He's being diplomatic now. Really,
I don't know. I think that was a burn. I think that was an under the table burn.
Maybe it's the hairdo. I don't know.
For the record,
Actually, no wonder he's got his camera off.
I do look around the stream and I see a lot of hairless heads and a lot of gray beards. So maybe we resemble the remark. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
I think we resemble it. Yeah.
For the record, I am actually turning 1 year older a few days from now. So
happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday first.
All right. So where did you start out on? What distro did you start out on, JJ?
Ubuntu, funnily enough, and I'm still, and I have experimented with.
You, Ryan would be freaking out right now.
Ubuntu was actually.
What?
Well, actually, it was on an old gateway, one of those old gray tower gateway computers. If you remember those from the
with the cow print.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Oh gee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Moo.
that's what I was experimenting with Linux on.
Remember
so
their
that's-
ads?
I don't know if I've ever seen their ads.
Oh, they had them on TV. They were a hoot.
They were fun.
They were so good.
They were funny. They were great. I bet you can find them on YouTube somewhere.
Possibly. Yeah. I'm currently on Ubuntu Mate as of I'm actually currently on Ubuntu Mate with the application running on my computer. So
Nice.
and I also I totally like what Mr. Wimpy's doing with Mate. Although
Now that's a smart dude. That's a smart guy. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I did experiment with what was that? It's the one that's not Solus, but it's Ubuntu based. Trying to think, Ubuntu Budgie.
Ubuntu Budgie, yeah.
Yes, and I like the sidebar. If only I could get like a Mate compatible sidebar for Mate, if that was even possible. I don't know. I'm also thinking about trying to do a Windows VM that could run on PCIe that could run PCIe pass-through on a laptop, but that's like probably a planning app purchase or something. That's even possible, like PCI pass-through on a laptop.
Are you talking about the sidebar that's similar to what Unity used to look like?
Not like that, but it like the notification panel. You know how in Monte you only get
The Raven menu.
bubble and then like it disappears. You have no way to access all your notifications.
Right.
Only there was a way you could do that on Monte. That's one of the things that I would want on Mate, possibly. Along with I also tried mainstream Ubuntu, and it has a very awesome UI where when you plug in the headset, it asks you, hey, is this a headset? Is this a set of headphones? Is this just a mic? And you click it from there. You don't have to go in through the audio settings.
Cool.
That would be an awesome feature to have across distros as well.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, welcome to the stream, man.
No problem.
EB,
have you tried Trinity?
Yes, Rocco. It was a tall order because she is a really difficult warframe to farm the parts for, and she's also not kind of standard. But it took me about 4 days to farm the parts for Trinity. Sorry, I thought we were talking about warframe. Are we talking about Linux?
Yeah.
No, on the desktop. I'll be honest with you. No, my only question to using Trinity: why? Why? Why would anybody use Trinity?
Pure speed.
No. You want pure speed, load of antics. You done.
Yeah,
No,
but
masochism.
there is a place for people who want a operating system like Trinity, especially people who love KDE 3.5, man.
Who?
Yeah, it strangely comes up quite a bit over in Antics and MX land with people asking to put Trinity on, and to the point where I think, who is it that I don't remember, but it comes up.
So
I want some more coffee.
K2KDE.
There is a market for it because Q4OS use it.
Yeah,
That's what I tested. Yeah.
Who do you know who uses Q4OS?
It doesn't matter who you know. There's
I
only
do.
20 people in the stream.
Well, you know, it does matter, Zed. Well,
No,
why are we sitting here talking about something that nobody will ever give a shiny one about? Really?
I use Q4OS because I have a 15-year-old HP Pavilion, 32-bit, and Q4OS is pretty much the only OS that I can get up and running on it consistently.
Have you thrown Antics on there?
Yes, but I prefer actually the look of the Q4OS over the Antics look.
Mm-hmm. It's all about choice, isn't it? It's all
No,
about
I
choice.
disagree. I think it's just all about wasting
If
time.
it works, use it.
Wasting time, says the man who'd spent 6 hours on 2 streams.
Yeah, no kidding.
Installing that, I can't even remember the name of the product now.
Let me see how many applications I can compile on one stream.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're all punched. A good job I changed my name, isn't it? Really? You've just got to have a slice, haven't you? Really, you lot, hey, yeah.
EB, if you want to borrow my caddy truck, I'll give you the keys tomorrow.
Well, EB, I was going to ask you, have you've? I mean, obviously everybody knows about Tulsa's caddy, but has anybody returned from it?
Oh, it's very few. I see Ryan's absent again. I see he's got a platinum seat in there.
Steve, just so you know, if you really want to get this kind of abuse, like in my house, all I got to do is go talk to my wife and I could get it all.
Absolutely.
I mean, you really. I mean,
No, the kind of abuse we dish out is unique only to BDLL.
Yes, it is. You're right.
Quality abuse.
Well, some of my streams are pretty fairly brutal. I don't know,
I just can't see the point of Trinity when there's so many cool distros and desktops out there. Why would you use something that's like
I tested
Why would you
it.
compile Gentoo?
Speed, isn't it? Yeah, really. Yeah.
Why would you not compile Gentoo? Gentoo's not,
Because we have a life.
Because I've got
really.
Because we actually want to get stuff done.
Because I've got better things to do.
Barbara, that's brutal.
Wait. I use Gentoo every day. It's my Android phone. But
install Gentoo.
Done
There's
that.
a Chromebook laying around here somewhere.
yeah, really.
To install Gentoo is a wonderful challenge and a learning experience. What
It
are you
is.
going to be learning with Trinity?
Yeah, but
EB, you are so full of that explanation. It's not even funny.
Okay, so it's a quick question for
One
you.
of my friends says, if you want a challenge, go fight a shark. There you go.
So here's a quick question for you, EB, on Gentoo. What is there that's a learning experience about you either just copying commands off of a website that says do this, do this, do this, do this, and do this, or Serge and Adrian telling you to do this, do this, do this, do this? Do you really actually learn it, or did you just copy type it?
No, in the live streams, I copy type it. But after that, I then go to the Gentoo wiki and start and learn not only what I'm typing, but why I'm typing it and what the end results are. So for me, it's a learning experience. So in a future live stream, when I come up against an issue, I am then equipped because I've learned on how to deal with it. Unlike in previous videos and live streams where something goes bang, and you're just stuck with it.
So when they open up a Gentoo museum of Linux distros, you'll be in charge then, right?
No, I'll just be a corpse.
No, he's going to be the dusty user sitting in the back and he's...
Okay.
All right.
No offense.
Toss, did you try Trinity at all?
It was in Q4OS a couple months ago, just out of curiosity. I was impressed. It was probably the fastest Linux distro I've ever tested. I was impressed by speed. The looks was a little bit too bland for me. I mean, I know that's changeable, but I think when you install, you have a option of different desktop environments, if I recall, to choose from. I went with the standard one, but I was really, really impressed by the speed. I mean, it was like it was telepathic. Like if I wanted to go click there, it went there already, you know. Speed was impressive. So I'll give them a 10 out of 10 for speed. And that's all that I know about it, really. Yeah.
Nice. Dan, have you tried it?
Yes, I have. I actually got the one that Present Arms had at his website. I got the VirtualBox appliance. I downloaded that first.
Yeah, that was not first.
Yeah, I took a look at it, but it was just this square box on my screen, and I couldn't get the size to adjust a full screen with it. I went and then downloaded the ISO, and I got the latest one, and I installed that VirtualBox, and it didn't want to run very well at all, but I put it in VMware, and it ran somewhat decent. And then I thought, well, I'm struggling with this. Why don't I just put it on some real hardware? So I put it on the old hard drive here and stuffed it in the machine, booted it up, and put the ISO in the USB drive, and it I got it to work. And what I really liked about it is I liked all the nicely polished icons and the messages that popped up, the help things that when you clicked on them, you got a help box that came up. I liked that. But what I didn't like is there's a certain amount of clunkiness to it. Like there needed to be some things fixed. The biggest issue I had with it is I couldn't get any sound to work. And I figured
to be an ongoing theme there. Yeah.
Yeah, what I figured out was on real hardware with everything, I could get sound to come out the VLC player only. When I opened up Firefox, I couldn't get no sound like out of a live stream from anybody or a video. But I started thinking, what happens if because I'd pulled a mixer up and it'd have all kinds of the hardware that was attached to the machine, including my mic and my camera. So what I did is I unplugged the mic and the camera and rebooted the machine, and then the sound all of a sudden was working great. So fine, I thought maybe it was either the mic or the camera. So I plugged them back in, rebooted the machine. I started a video on YouTube up. And then when I unplugged the mic, it was like, bam, just like that. The sound came back. So for some reason, it didn't like my blue Yeti mic that I'm using now. And other than that, I thought it was a really nice looking distro, especially for a new user like me that would be sucked into something like that.
Sounds like you need to get rid of K-Mix and just put in Pulse audio controls.
Or the other way around, yeah. A lot of people, I have had people come back to me saying that if they remove Pulse audio, which is easy to do, it's one tick in the PPC hardware, that they get sent back through K-Mix. And other people would say, no, if I remove Pulse audio, I'll get no audio at all, so I don't need Pulse audio. So it's quite a tricky one to figure out, that is, to be honest, for me personally. But yeah, I'm gonna have to see what I can do about that anyway.
I had another issue too. When I installed this thing and then I went and shut it off and came back the next day and powered it up again and rebooted the distro, all of a sudden I got a blinking cursor and all it said was grub. And I'm like, I don't know how to fix this. And I didn't have much invested in loading any files or anything onto the hard drive. So I just reinstalled it a second time, and it seemed to stick that time.
Yeah. Dan had an issue one night on one of my streams for like 15 minutes. We were trying to figure out sound and what was the problem.
I forgot to hit the mute button on the mic and turn off the mics. I had rebooted the machine. Why don't the mic work?
Well, not that I'm a professional channel or anything.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
I don't know, Voco screen. I use Voco screen for my videos. And yeah, I've done a full video and I'm chatting away and everything. I've reread to see what it sounds like. No sense. And I forgot to tick the white box inside Barcoaster and I'm going, don't do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I did half of, not half, but I mean, I did part of a live stream and people couldn't hear me, but I wasn't paying attention to the chat. So
sinister mute button, man. It's a dreaded disease, let me tell you.
It'll probably happen again, too.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway, where were we? Something about Trinity, was it?
Yeah.
Now, is the desktop with all the icons the Trinity part of it?
Yeah, that's part. Well, I've added some, but the home and the places and so on. So I changed my desktop because you can turn all those off. You can just remove them. That's no problem to leave yourself a clean desktop. But things like home and I'm just trying to see what's on mine now. It's serious. Okay, yeah, things like home and trash, my documents, and my computer. They seem to be part of the standard Trinity desktop.
I wouldn't remove them.
And I just left them there.
It's nicely polished stuff. I wouldn't remove them. As far as being a new user of this year, I just started using Linux full time at the beginning of this year.
Woot!
And yeah, and I really, to me, it was the icons. Whoever made them did a really good job, especially in the menu and the desktop. And I'd probably use it full time if I felt that it would stay together.
Yeah, well, I've been using it for the last 3 years and updates. So I've even done a video where I took a Node ISO of mine from 2015 and I installed it there and I just clicked on the updates and it updated and it didn't break on me. I was quite surprised myself, genuinely surprised when it didn't break. Every single package updated. And that was through 2 iterations of Trinity as well, from 14.00 to 14.04, I think. 14.05 has been released, and I'm waiting for the packages in Trinity themselves, trinitydesktop.org, to make the packages, and then I can make another ISO with the newer version of Trinity, which is what I'm for. So I'm hoping in a week or so, and I will have another ISO out.
Cool. Well, EB, Carl Schneider could not be here tonight, but he did send his comments along, and he kind of agrees with you on Trinity, I guess. So he said, I won't be around again this weekend, but I did download PC Linux OS Trinity version. Seems to be a decent desktop environment. PC Linux OS is ridiculous. I've nicknamed it the I wish I was an old Windows distro.
It's a crock of tats. Wow. It's as simple as that. And as I've just seen Joe's comment, you try Trinity for the same reason you try Calculate. No, I'm sorry, Joe. Toss, I need a little spot in your trunk there for Joe for a week. If that's okay.
All right, let me grab the keys here. Hang on a second.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, what is this load of tat? Really?
Okay.
Well, I know how much you like to calculate, so it just came to mind. So why?
Yeah, I thought Calculate would be a great route to, a stopgap route to Gen 2.
You know what's funny? Watch 10 years from now, Trinity will be the #1 distro while we're all laughing now.
No, Tosh, you were so wrong. Everybody knows it will be Hannah Montana. That
We're still waiting. Hannah Montana is a distro. It can run the Trinity desktop.
Oh, really?
Trinity desktop and Hot Pink is something whose time has come.
Oh yeah, and with KD 3.5, you can theme it like that too.
See, I like the name because we have 2 hospitals here called Trinity Hospital. Actually, where I live. Yeah. No, for real.
We also do have hospitals named Trinity Hospital where I live as well.
Nice. See, it's popular, EB. See.
Popular, yeah. It's about as popular as a 3-week-old dried up Subway roll, isn't it? Really?
All right, so
I remember though.
You're such a
Mark, they only come at age because Gnome 2 went to Gnome 3. Nobody liked Gnome 3, so they went to Gnome 2, and this is why Trinity come about, because when KDE 4 came out, that was a pile.
Yes,
this is
surely
true.
If you're a big lover
and so people fought to KDE 3.
Yeah. But why?
It's only the same as Mate, because it's been updated daily. It isn't a stagnant project. It's been updated every day. Yes, the interface looks old at the moment, but that'll be improved with time. Just like Mate,
Well, you know, use. I feel like I'm debating meet the press here. Just use what works, you know. But
yeah, exactly. But it's courses for courses, right?
I'll be dead. Not really. If you want gnome to use mate, easy, isn't it?
yeah.
But look,
You're done.
look.
Yeah, and if you want KDE 3.5, use Trinity.
Correct.
Mhm.
Every distro out there has its place. And Present Arms, we appreciate all the work you do.
No problem.
Yeah. Trinity.
No, I take all the criticism. I'm taking it all in fun.
All right, who's got the bad audio?
I know.
Somebody using Trinity.
I saw that coming.
That is
yeah.
so not right.
Okay, I can
say that, but I thought,
It was a slow pitch.
But above
Well, anyway, like I said, we appreciate all the effort you make on Trinity, man.
Yes,
That's wonderful. It can only improve from here on out, you know.
Especially Zeb, who's got it running on 3 PCs and 8 monitors. Yeah, Zeb loves Trinity.
More spins. More spins.
Hey, Rock, I have a question. What are you running now, by the way?
KD Neon, baby.
Okay, cool.
Still rocking the 1804 preview.
Nice.
Wendy,
Best.
can I just ask, Wendy, would you use Trinity as your daily driver in this modern 2018 with a massive array of beautiful desktops on the Linux? Would you choose Trinity?
No, but I already said that. You know, it's not. That is definitely not my cup of tea. It's not what I like.
Thank you.
I
Wendy.
prefer a KDE, or the modern KDE desktop is what I use.
Yeah, fabulous, and it's fantastic. Barbara, would you use Trinity as your daily driver?
Probably not, because it doesn't. I think it's because it's so old looking. I would have a problem with it.
Absolutely. So why are we even having this discussion? Have I missed something?
Because that's what the challenge was. That's the only reason why we're on the distro. I mean, I don't understand why we're arguing why we were on this distro. I mean, it's just.
Yep. Anyway,
Rocco's like, oh God, why did I start this?
Some weeks are easier than others.
Well, it was nice for Present Arms because he had such a vast array of feedback, and he's got a few things to go back and check out and try out. And whether it's for everybody or whether it's for EB just to have a pop at, it's a really good job, and you just keep it going, mate, because you're obviously enjoying it.
It sounds like it's not a matter of speed, it's a matter of customization and looks. Is that what the point is here? Because the speed is fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I keep saying,
Okay, so go to Sherwin, grab a couple paint brushes and just give it a nice paint job.
Yeah,
You're good, right?
After some playing with it, I had KDE looking very, very nice.
Well,
in
there
fact,
you
it
go.
looked a lot like my XFCE desktop. It was nice.
Use nice and XFCE in the same sentence.
Look, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that Trinity.
And you can just walk out here because I can see the same conversation happening for XF with XFCE in about 2 years.
No, it looks
so.
pretty, it looks
We're just going to move on.
Look, to me, Trinity does not look any worse than a default bland XFCE version. I'm sorry.
Well, the other thing too, if you want to know who would use something old, look at the government in the United States. They're still running Windows 2000.
Yeah, I wanted
update.
I wanted to mention, you know, there are users out there that I know one gentleman. He's an older gentleman, but he got a new computer. He was very excited to get the new computer. He took the new computer out of the box. He set it on his desktop. He fired it up. It was Windows 10. He said, "What the heck is this? They changed everything. Where's my America Online? America Online, no America Online software." He plugs the thing back down, puts it back in the box. It stays in the closet for 2 years. He just got it out when his Windows XP machine finally died. Like literally, like smoke came out the power supply.
Being a time machine.
You know, I'm going to say this, and I know this for a fact. I retired from the Air Force in 2007. And I know there's a computer on Ellsworth Air Force Base that operates a very unique crypto device, and it's running Windows 95.
Yep.
And there's no way they can go to any other operating system to make that thing work because the guy who made the software died, and nobody replaced him.
Yep. As long as it works. Yeah.
You know, back in the 90s, I had structural analysis software that when Windows 95 came out, we had to keep a DOS computer running because it would not calculate beam deflections correctly under Windows 95.
Sorry, you can't say calculate in this chat.
Whoa.
I've got a question just for Present Arms, because I've used Q4OS, and in Q4OS they've actually got some of the appearances to look pretty much near the up-to-date KDE, I think it is.
Isn't there like blur?
Is that a TDE thing, or is that a Q4OS thing?
That's a Q4OS thing. They theme their stuff extensively. If you have a look at some of their themes, there's one that looks a spitting image of XP. I mean, spitting image.
That's correct.
Dialogue, the dialogue boxes come up as XP, and I'm going, where? You insert a USB and it comes up with the dialogue. Their setup programs are very much like the install wizards, install shield. That's something that QoS has done with the Trinity desktop. It's quite impressive actually with the scripts they've done.
But I thought you could download those from somewhere, from a Trinity site or something. I thought I did that once before on Q4OS, or
yeah, I'm not quite sure whether it's actually they use it specifically for their that's something I did notice. It's not something I've seen in the repo that I download, because I use a different repo. I use the one that PC Computing's actually use.
Mm-hmm.
The developers use. I download directly from the developers. So they've added extra scripts, or they've done something to make their distro look like exactly like XP.
Yeah.
It's quite nice actually, but it was quite jarring to see it on my screen when I did test it.
Derek.
Hey, what's up?
What's happening?
No, not much.
Hey, DT.
Well, speaking of unstable, look who's not just kidding.
Yeah. Hold on, guys. All right.
Hey, you want to put any thoughts on Trinity?
Yeah. So I've looked at Present Arms, his Trinity distro, a few times before. I've run it on real hardware before, and I've taken a look at his distro on my channel 3 or 4 times. I really like the Trinity desktop, light, fast, full desktop environment, 200 megs of RAM. It's hard to beat that. The one thing that's a drawback for me, why I probably wouldn't use it as my daily driver, is the PC Linux OS repos are not what the Debian repos are, and they're not.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's a fantastic distro.
Earlier on, when we was on the stream, you clicked on the internet to bring up a FileZilla, remember?
Yeah.
FileZilla didn't load, and then the internet thing, all you had to do was click back on where you got the internet. If you clicked onto the blue bar that says internet, it would have all come back. It actually rolls up into it for some reason. I looked at it afterwards and I was thinking that disappeared. And then, of course, when you close the menu and bring it back up, still blank. Yeah. But yeah. But that was the issue on that particular one when you didn't run.
Yeah, and that didn't bug me that much. I mean, I've never really had a problem with FileZilla before like that. I mean, I just did that VirtualBox install just on camera for the stream, but on physical hardware, FileZilla hasn't bugged out on me like that. Some of the things that concerned me was OBS. I guess when they build OBS, they don't build it with NVENC support. And that's kind of a deal breaker. So I'd have to compile OBS myself with NVENC support if I wanted to use it.
Would the app image work? Because I've installed the app image and the app image does run.
Okay. Well, I'll check out the app image. I'm pretty sure there's a flat pack too for it. So
yeah, because I don't have any NVIDIA hardware to test the NVENC part.
Yeah. Because I installed the NVENC package on both your Trinity PC Linux OS and on the OpenBox edition you did just for me, which was fantastic, by the way. I really appreciate that. But still, no NVENC encoder offered in OBS when you run OBS. So I'm not sure what's going on.
I'm not sure what's going on there either. I'll investigate it though.
Yeah.
All right. So I received an email this week specifically wanting to ask all of you guys a question, basically a topic. And this email is from Marcus. And basically it is the the question is, are small distributions a security risk? And speaking of, Trinity, I'll just read the email out a little bit. He says, thanks for Biddle. He always watches it. Since he doesn't like Ubuntu 18.04 with GNOME that much, he's currently looking for an alternative. And he's tried a lot that looks like Linux Mint Cinnamon. He says that it's the least bad alternative, I guess. I don't know exactly what that means, but he's looking for one that has a program starter icon task list like Cinnamon does. So, but he's wondering if you can trust small community-driven distributions. They often do a good job, but behind distributions like Ubuntu is a company with many paid employees who take care of stable and secure servers. And he brings up the fact that Linux Mint had a issue with their ISOs that one time.
Yeah.
So the question is, can a small distro, or is a small distro, a security risk?
Well, that's an easy one to answer because Linux Mint has been hacked, but guess what? So is Ubuntu. Gentoo was hacked.
There's a distro out there that hasn't been hacked.
Yeah,
I was going to say they've all been hacked. It's a matter of whether or not.
Matter of fact, Ubuntu has been hacked multiple times. They've had their forums hacked. They had the Ubuntu single sign-in thing hacked. Ubuntu's had several compromises. So,
well, to the best of my knowledge, Trinity's never been hacked, has it?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, there you go.
The servers are hardened. They're not going to get that in that easy.
Never say never.
It's
Challenge
the most secure distro, yeah.
It really depends whether or not you're looking at what they are looking for security, quote unquote, as far as their definition in particular. I mean, if they're just looking for a company behind it that will be defaultly more secure, I don't think that's possible any more than any other company, because a community really is just really a company in and of itself. It's just not financially stable, shall we say.
Well, I don't think he's looking for specifics. I think he's just throwing it out there to say, what are you guys' opinions on it? Is a big company... Would you go with a big company distro because they would be more secure, or is that not even an issue or important?
I've never really even thought about that.
In my opinion, he's probably looking at the more support you have, or the larger the company or the development behind it would make it that much more secure. And I don't know that that's necessarily true. And especially now that Linux is starting to get more popular, we've seen more attempted hacks on it because it's getting a bigger target on its back. So
and I don't think
it's going to be 100% secure no matter what you're at.
Yeah, and sorry, Joe, I don't think the support side of it is either a good way to go, because if you go onto Linux Mint and you go onto Ubuntu and read up or ask the forum to show you how many unanswered posts, and there are thousands of them because there's too many people trying to use them and not enough people to answer all of the questions. As for, is a small community Linux distribution unsafe? No, not at all. It's as safe as the upstream distros where you're getting all the information from. I think this guy is talking about, from a security point of view, is that on the website of things.
Yes.
And you can get major companies being hacked. So that doesn't matter how big you are. I think he needs to concentrate on, is the distro secure? Do they keep up with the latest kernel? And you can do that just as easy as a one-man band as you can with a 50-man band.
There's
especially considering that the least secure part of any organization are the humans involved, because they're the ones that the hackers are going to go after, and the more humans you have involved, the more attack surfaces you're going to have.
That's where Gentoo slipped up. Is they got somebody's GitHub password and got in, and that's how they.
I took that as,
it wasn't actually Gentoo; it was just one of their mirrors.
Right.
And I took that as he was talking about not necessarily the web apps, because the reality is Mint got hacked because of a poor or very weak, stupid password on their website. So yeah, the websites can always get hacked, which would obviously give them a gateway into the distro. But if you think about it, the distros themselves, I mean, anybody could get a hold of all the coding or whatever and attempt to do whatever they want. It's just how well they can do it. To me, I don't know. I guess maybe get a clarification on what he means by secure with the largest of the company. Because that, to me, when you talk about the largest of the company, that's why I said what I did, because I took it as it's like Microsoft. You know, everybody assumes that Microsoft's so much better because it's such a larger company. You got more people working on it, or whatever. I shouldn't say everybody, but that's what a lot of the discussions.
How many issues are there with Windows and Microsoft? Think
Exactly.
about it.
Well,
I have to agree.
About the
Sorry, Dolphin, what were you going to say?
Hold on. Yeah, let's go one at a time because everybody's talking over everybody and nobody can hear anything. So it doesn't make good for a good discussion. So, okay, Dolphin, go ahead.
So I was going to mention something that has already been said. The attack surface for Gen 2 was a mirror. A lot of smaller distributions will vary from the big boys is that they may not necessarily control all their mirrors. We rely on a lot of not paid for mirrors out there. We don't have a whole lot of cash. And there tend to be universities all over the world that do this, and they don't do it just for us. I mean, they do it for lots of people. This is a long-standing practice in the open source community to have mirrors, but that also leaves you a lot of attack vector. Our main repos, we have 2 repos that sync. They're the master sync servers, and those I don't know if I'm not going to say no one could ever hack them. They probably can be done. If you can hack the Pentagon, I'm sure you could hack MX Linux. Okay, but I don't know 100% that some maintainer at a university somewhere just gets disgruntled and leaves a back door open. I don't know what happens there, and that would not be in our direct line. We wouldn't know. It would be totally outside, and it may only affect MX users in a certain part of the world because we localize our servers on install. So we try to pick a mirror. So I would guess that a larger company, I don't exactly know how Ubuntu does it with their mirrors. I would think Ubuntu and Red Hat and SUSE being the big boys here in corporate Linux. Do they control all their servers? I don't know. I would bet they maintain corporate mirrors, and their paid support contracts all cover those. But I don't know that.
Well, if you ever read the Ubuntu server list or Linux Mint list, about 3/4 on the mirrors are in educational facilities.
Mm-hmm. And that's very common, and that's a long-standing practice in the open source world.
That's common for me as well. Most of the mirrors are the main piece of Linux OS server repo server is secured. It's totally separate from the web pages and all that kind of business. And in fact, nobody has access to the main piece of Linux OS server. They have to run up the mirror, NL UUG, I believe. That's their main mirror. And then everybody gets fed up NL going down the line. So
I think that's a great point. And I think that's maybe the bigger problem with a smaller distro, and one that we're addressing on our end after, who was it? What was the distro that the guy vanished and
Void.
There you go. Yeah. So yeah, I don't have access. I don't post packages on the repo. I am isolated from that. I can do the blog. I can do stuff on the forum. I can upload stuff to our SourceForge site. I don't touch the repo. Repo's other people. But if we lost those people all at the same time, that would cause us a problem. Now we're trying to distribute that. That is an issue for a lot of these one-man bands because there's one repo sitting someplace and one guy running the show. And if he dies, that's it.
Well,
nobody gets his password.
I mean, wasn't this the main issue with?
Sorry.
Oops. Wasn't this the main issue with that phone OS, Copperhead OS, that went to rogue because of that one person had destroying the keys due to some sort of issue?
Yeah, that's common. With the main dev, he has all the keys to everything, and if he disappears, dies, goes to jail, or what do you do? So, Void hasn't had a release.
I do have the keys to the main Peace Lost repo, just in case something like that does happen, because as you know, the head developer for Peace Linux OS is.
Yeah, Void hasn't had a release since last year because of what happened with their main dev. I mean, they're still trying to figure that out. So,
it's a good name, Void.
Yeah, there's me and a couple of others that have access to the main repo. If something happens to the main man, we've already got that taken care of, kind of thing. So,
I think for me, the answer to the question is no. I don't think smaller distros are any more or less secure than the other distro. I think the biggest form of hacking is completely misunderstood. It's not some 13-year-old spotty teenager in the bedroom with Kali Linux. It's social engineering. How many times have we all walked into a company with an IT department to have spent weeks securing all the servers, and there on a yellow post-it note on everybody's monitor is the username and password? So for me, I think the whole form of hacking, a lot of it is a lucky random happening. So for me, every single computer should always have Intel inside, idiot outside, because it's the human element. Simple as that from me.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
at the same time, though, there's social engineering, but that's more targeted. Where you have the other forms of hacking that are across the whole internet. So there's like a much larger audience who can actually target you. So even though it may not be as common, it's also more. There's more people who could be someone targeting you.
All right, Shikken, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of point out that a security risk in general, it doesn't necessarily have to be based off of something that isn't already happening. So a lot of the whole security risk thing can come from there's already been a hack. Who's taking care of that? Who's qualified to take care of that? When you look at packages like something like Firefox, browsers that are based off of Firefox, who delivers those security patches when they find a new vulnerability that affects pretty much every browser? Who's distributing security patches to these off-brand browsers? And the same goes for like a lot of OSs. If you've got things that aren't maintained by someone else and there's already an issue, who's fixing that? And how quickly is it being fixed and distributed?
It's a cat and mouse game.
A lot of it is just that it doesn't even need to be something that you're preparing for. It could have already happened, and it's just a matter of who's actually going to get those fixes out before something does happen again.
All right. Colin where's Colin? Did he leave?
I think he was waving by a second ago.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to weigh in on the whole security issue?
Well, I'm going to secure myself to bed, actually. Everybody have a safe Labor holiday if you celebrate it. And
have a good
Rocco,
holiday.
everybody, it was good seeing you. So I'll catch you next time. Okay.
See you, Joe.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Well, I'm going to mention something that you guys have already brought up, but I think the bigger issue is not the security thing when you're trying to pick a distro. It is the, do you want to go with your daily driver with a distro that is backed by only a couple people or one person, or do you want to go with a distro that's backed by a company? That, I think, is a more relevant question because, just like with Void, if that happens, if somebody, God forbid, passes away, what are you going to do? There's been a few distros in the last couple years that have gone by the wayside. Revenge OS is another one that was done by Jody James, and it was an awesome distro. But, real life kicks in, and he's not able to take care of it anymore, and it just goes by the wayside. So I think that's the more relevant question, not so much the security question. Do you want to deal with a situation like that where you have all this time and stuff invested in setting up your desktop to maybe possibly have it, you have to switch?
At home, I don't mind. In a business environment, you want Ubuntu, Red Hat, SUSE. But at home, I can run anything. I can run any one-man garage distro, and that's fine. It's not like I'm married to it. I can switch if,
Or
Right.
even make it
And isn't Slackware basically a one-man distro?
Yes, it is. Actually, Patrick Volkerding is really, there's other people that help him out, but really, if Patrick wasn't around, Slackware probably would be no more.
And that's the oldest active distro there is. So.
Well, you say that, but look at Arca Linux. Eric Dubois, absolutely fantastic. Another classic example, Makulu Linux, Jacques Raymer. Listed distinguished, didn't it?
Yeah, I think you have to pick the distro that works for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
one thing.
I totally agree with that. I couldn't agree with it more, and that's why everybody should be on peppermint. I mean, I've nothing else.
Matthew?
Yeah, one thing to bring up is if you've followed Solus, that's the OS that I currently use. So the sort of lead developer of that, like he recently has been in transition, moving to England, I believe. And the interesting reason to bring it up is that it's continuing going, and there's only a small group of people actually developing it, but they've still managed to continue pushing out new software updates, some development progress on the desktop. So I think that's a good example of a distro that is relatively small, but still without its lead developer currently active on the internet, continues development and things of that sort.
A better example would be Karora. What happened with Karora? The main devs basically quit, and one guy decided he was going to create a XFCE Karora spin based on Fedora 28, and that's what we got a couple of weeks back. It was just some guy, wasn't even involved in the project. He didn't want to let that distro die, so he did his own thing. And
But shouldn't he named it Zorora?
Yeah,
I mean, really.
That's actually one thing I really like about. That's one thing I really like about Arco is that Eric Dubois, he set up the base of it, but then he's been spending the last year or 2 years teaching everybody else how to build it and how to maintain their own version of it, so that he basically made it a community distro, so that it's not just a one-man band.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning Arco, and I use it as my daily driver. I mean, I'm on his videos every other day, learning something new.
What are we going to say, Wendy?
Enough videos for you to watch for years and years and years. That man is brilliant.
Yeah,
I have do something else. Do force of nature.
Wendy, what were you going to say?
They actually have a couple more versions of Karora out now for testing. So there is a KDE version, and I think a GNOME version now in testing also.
Nice. And talking of new versions like that, how's those Antics ones, those Antic spins coming on? Dolphin?
That'd be
Oh,
you.
you're talking about the KDE and LXQT?
Yeah.
They're there. They're probably going to get updated again next month. I guess this month now, it's September. So probably later on in the month. There's been a lot of tweaks being done, but I haven't been real involved with those beyond some bug testing. So, but they're there and they're coming. With the one thing we won't get, a lot of people are like, well, your KDE is out of date and your LXQT is out of date. Yes, I know. We're on Debian, and they're coming from Debian stable. And I'm not sure, without getting the whole dev team on board, that we're going to pull in newer versions of those into MX. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to stay KDE or Debian versions. But, Buster's around the corner. We'll see.
Yeah. Pete, you get your mic working yet?
I think so.
Nice. All right, so you want to weigh in on Trinity or maybe the security question or anything?
With the security question, a lot of this hacks you see nowadays are because of people not following best practices. How many times do you see a hack because somebody left an unsecure S3 bucket sitting out there?
Yeah.
So on
Gideon?
a totally separate note, just to interrupt, I managed to get it working on my my Surface Book.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so
Where'd you
I'm pretty
go?
happy about that. There's no, funny enough, there's no battery indicator that's not working, so it's kind of a gamble as to whether or not the machine's just going to shut off on me. So it's pretty exciting.
The live stream where you get Ubuntu working on the Surface Pro.
Yeah.
Ubuntu? Have you not put Trinity on there?
No, I like sound, so.
Gideon, you want to weigh in on the security issue or Trinity?
Well, I did get Trinity running in a virtual machine, so I did get to try it out a little bit. And it's not for me.
Okay. All right. Let's put it this way. we have a couple more topics that I wanted to cover tonight, but it's already 12:20, and we still haven't picked a distro for next week yet. So let's at least start picking a distro for next week. Anybody got any suggestions on what to try?
I do. A friend of mine is developing Draugr OS, and he's trying to make it a console-like gaming distro. And he says it's pretty cool.
So
But
like a replacement for SteamOS?
And what's it based on?
I think it's just Ubuntu.
Anybody else have any suggestions while he looks that up?
Yeah, I'd kind of like everybody to have a go at trying Dolphin's new operating system, Raspberry MX. I think that would be awesome to put on your desktop. It's got the Trinity desktop on it, and it flies.
Did you not hear me when I said Trinity is not in our repos?
Hey,
that.
Can somebody wake up Scrap, please?
Wow. I just noticed
I
that.
love how you transfer the mud. I love it.
Yeah,
All
being
right.
serious, I've got a suggestion.
Yeah.
Peppermint OS 9. Thank you. Please. Thank you.
Never
Evie,
heard of it.
We need something different.
We've all already used Peppermint 9, and it just works. So we know that it would get fave reviews everywhere.
Pretty much,
Another
yeah.
suggestion.
Yeah.
I don't know if have you guys tried Larry OS recently? It hasn't been a huge amount happening with it, but it's still like in that development phase, you know. But it's been there for like forever.
What was the name of it?
Larry OS. It was like the Material Design OS that used to be called something else. You know.
Have you got a website you can pop into chat? Because I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one either.
Larry.io. Liri.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Larry or Leary?
Larry, like Liri. I don't know how to say it.
I haven't tried it as of late, but the last time I tried it, I couldn't get it installed.
Yeah, I tried it, I want to say a couple of months ago, and I had the same problem. I couldn't get it to run when I tried it.
I have
Oh,
to
it
say,
says
just
not
on the
nightly alpha.
Just on the
Yeah.
pronunciation, and Zeb will love this, it's actually called Larry OS, because you got to be Larry to use it, you know?
It's more of that British code speak. I don't know what he just said there.
It's
Yeah.
certainly not Lortris. It's Lutris, and this is Lyri.
Here we go. He's in like
Lyri OS.
Here we go.
Okay, so like I said before, we don't have to try like these off the wall. I mean, we can, but we don't have to try the most off the wall distro you've come up with. We can
Mhm.
try a mainstream distro, and there's nothing wrong with that. So
Well, here's one that's mainstream. Any of you guys ever looked at TrueOS?
No.
You're funny. You're funny.
Steve, not going anywhere near that. None of us will be on Zoom next week if we try and do
Hey, it's number 15 on the Distro Watch page at rankings.
Are we going to have to do the distro watch shuffle there, Zeb?
I was going to say, Rocco, if we do True OS, it'll be all of you on stream next week.
So Linux Debian.
L-E-E-E-N-U-X. Linux.
If
Yeah,
you
what
want something a little bit different, but still, you know, considered mainstream, why don't you have a go with one of the Cororas?
Yeah, that's not a bad
We
idea.
could try the Corora spin, the XFCE spin.
Yeah, since it was just released a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's kind of fresh.
We've done Corora before, yeah.
Is that what you want to do? Everybody vote.
Is it based on 20?
Yeah, it's based on Fedora 28. Yeah, the latest
Yeah,
one.
it's based on the latest release.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
So we're all going to do the same desktop, or are we going to split it up?
Well, your only other option is what about LMDE, Linux
Yeah.
Mint?
That just
That's
dropped
it with the
this week.
Debian backend.
The Debian 3, yeah, it just dropped. Well, that's hey, like I said, this is why we choose.
The other thing is, Debian just turned 25, so give it a little love, right?
You're right. We could all do a mini install of Debian and put i3 on it.
Trinity on it.
Open box on it.
Okay, right.
Oh,
I mean,
I can put Trinity on it, trust me.
All right, so which is it? Hold on. Let me get my paper and pen because we still use these nowadays.
That's wacky.
Paper and a what?
Boy, you're following the Soviet space program. Cool.
All right,
you just
so
do a poll?
for
No, they use
Quora
pencils.
or Linux Mint Debian, Zeb, what's your pick?
LMDE3.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, LMD3.
Frank.
I guess LMDE.
Dave.
Since it's been forever since I've used Mint LMDE3.
Wendy.
Cora.
Quora. All right. Matt.
I'm gonna go with Corora.
Joe.
Aurora.
Well, I'm gonna pick Quora. I know that. So, Jacob.
I'm going to try Corora as well.
Present Arms. You going to come back next week?
I will. And I will try Fiora. Even though
After-
I've got battery tonight, I don't mind.
After all of this time.
I was waiting for that.
I said to you last week, all feedback is good feedback because like it helps me improve the distro the way people want it improved. So that's good for me.
Just
So,
bring the crash helmet if Punchbag Bob's back.
Are
That's
you
all right.
are you into trying other distros or what?
Yeah. I've got a spare machine there I can throw a distro on.
All right. So what would you rather choose?
Yeah,
Linux Mint
Quora,
Debian, Quora?
Yeah, he loves RPM distros being a PC Linux OS guy. So.
Matthew.
I don't want. I'd have tried either one of those.
Yeah.
Hey,
Matthew.
Rocco, I'm going to change my to Cora.
Okay.
I'm looking at the website. And I'll try that one.
All right, Matthew.
Yeah. I'd go with Cora as well.
Chicken.
I'm gonna go with Little Debbie.
Debian. Yeah. Okay.
Scrap
Scrapjaw.
Quora.
Scrapjaw. Can we have your opinion, please? Scrapjaw.
He's going with.
He's thinking about it.
That's new kid sleep right there. That's what that is.
So funny. Can we just change his name?
Can we get a screenshot of that? Because it's
Well, he's on YouTube for eternity.
Good thing nobody will see this, huh? Dolphin, what are you going to pick?
I was going to say Quora, but everybody's already voted for a Quora, so I don't think it really matters what I say. So,
well, we're going to tally the numbers, so you vote.
well, I'll say
want.
Quora just because they need some love. Oh, I
Adam?
like all the Z's over there on Scrapjaw now.
Adam, what are you going to pick, man?
I get enough redhead at work, so I'm gonna go with the Linux Mint Debian edition.
All right, Pete.
I'm going to go Corora.
Joel.
I'll just vote Corora just to agree with everybody else.
Well, that's no fun.
EB.
I'm going to go LMDE because I want to see if it's good as MX.
All right. It's not. Derek.
Short answer.
Yeah, Corora would be nice.
And Gideon.
I want to try Debian.
All right. Well, the votes are 12-7, Corora. So
Yeah, can we have that independently verified there, Rock?
yes, Zeb.
Sorry, the votes are not within 10% of
12
the
to
count.
7, yeah, exactly.
You have to pay for the recall. Make a check
All
out
right.
to Dolphin Oracle at.
Well, look, we can try out Corora this week, and then the following weekend we can do the Linux Mint Debian edition.
Now,
So-
am I reading right that LMDE only comes in cinnamon? Is that correct?
Yes, that is
Yeah,
correct.
that's how it should.
Okay, that'll be cool because
That's how it should be.
that's
I'd just like to say, Rocco, if anybody would like to download it, if they go to tuxdigital.com/.
I didn't do it this time.
We just couldn't get through an episode, could we?
Yeah, don't use that link because you're only going to get the KDE edition. So.
Michael left early, and he didn't get that in there, so I'm sure he thanks you, EB.
Mm-hmm. And Dolphin, if you go on Ghosty's channel, he's just done a quick LMDE3 video, so you'll be able to have a quick preview of it.
Does somebody have a link for the Corora XFCE? Because the one on SourceForge is showing up as missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm hating SourceForge right now because like half the time we upload an ISO, and it just vanishes. It's
Isn't
so
Force-
irritating.
Isn't SourceForge under controversy for like putting freeware on other people's
Old
applications?
owners? That's old
Yeah,
owners.
that was the old people. Yeah,
That's done. These guys are under controversy just because they can't keep a server running for more than 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah, well, they are using Windows Server 2012, so they need a little help.
Has anyone got, a moment ago, I got a security error going to cororaproject.org.
Yeah, it's been hacked.
Maybe we should flip the choices, Rocco. Maybe we should do LMD this week and Core next time.
Either way, we
I
would
think
be
I've
hacked,
put
dude.
a link in for the Corora project, and then you can go down. It says the
thank you,
latest ISO can be downloaded from so and so. I haven't tried it yet, but it doesn't look like there's any SourceForge stuff there, so it may work.
Warning in Chrome.
Yeah, I linked to one of their mirrors. I'm actually going to link to a blog post too that's got several mirrors to choose from. If that first mirror doesn't work,
Go ahead, Derek. Put it up
And it
there.
looks like you can choose GNOME, KDE, or XFCE.
yeah, they offer 3 versions right now.
I'm
They
going
say
to
the
go
KDE.
GNOME because I'm going to see if they go Wayland with it.
They say the KDE and GNOME though they're testing versions. They're kind of beta, so don't be surprised if they're buggy. So.
All right, so we've got a distro, and yeah, we'll try the Corora this week, and we'll see what happens. So it is pumpkin time. Last word, Zeb.
Check out the latest show that's going to be coming out from Destination Linux. Hopefully it will be out on Wednesday of this week. We had a lot of fun, and we was able to interview Matthew Miller of Fedora.
Nice. Episode 86, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Dan, last word?
I'll just poke Scrapjaw a little bit and try to wake him up.
Frank.
I look forward to the next challenge. I thank you guys for letting me be on here. I always have fun, and I always learn something one way or the other. So thank you.
Awesome. Dave?
Hannah Montana Linux with the Trinity desktop for the win.
Hot pink.
I am going to do that. I am sending that. I am going to do that.
Don't promise it if you don't deliver, man. Mike's been getting killed on that for like a year.
Yeah.
Michael just I would say it's on time, but it's Michael, so you know.
Give me a
It's
couple
on-
of weeks. I am going to do it. That's it. That's in my notes.
Wendy, last word.
So far, the AMD graphics card is running great, and I won't be going back to NVIDIA.
You went to Team Red.
I did, all the way.
Okay. All right. Matt, last word.
Well, Wendy's going to be having a lot of games dropped off soon to test that, particular Team Red card. So, 500 gig hard drive filled with games. So, yeah.
Nice.
So, game on.
Game on. Joe?
Just for the record, he's poor kid's immortalized now because I just dropped a screenshot in the Telegram group. And I've done that before. So anyway, everybody have a great week. This was a fun night.
Nice. Jacob, last word.
I have nothing to add, but it's been fun.
Awesome. Present Arms, last words.
Yeah, it's been a great night. I've taken all the criticisms on board. Yeah, I've learned a lot tonight, and I'm looking forward to next week with the challenge. I will be doing the distro. That'll be cool.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me, Rocco.
Matthew?
Well, there's not really any last words better than what has already been said. So, yeah.
Dig it. Chicken.
I just want to kind of say thanks to Present Arms because it's actually really commendable that you come on here and take the flame and fire from all of us, and it's really something that I think a lot more people could definitely benefit from. It's not easy to do sometimes, and no, it shows that you've got a lot of passion in what you're doing and that you're willing to take feedback to try and make it the best experience possible, and that's great.
You're here.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Scrapjaw, last word.
That's so mean.
Dolphin. Dolphin, last word.
Well, I'll second what Chicken said about Present Arms. Nice job. Keep up the work. And also for all you folks out in the United States of America, happy Labor Day.
America.
Yep.
America to you.
Mhm. Adam, last word.
I just want to thank Microsoft for making a damn fine Ubuntu laptop.
Agreed.
Sweet.
Without even knowing it.
Rocco,
Pete.
you can't give me crap about being the only one with a Surface now.
But he will anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I will, just because it's you, Matt. Pete, last word.
Ouch.
It's good to be back. And in true BDL fashion, I distro hopped right before. And
Yeah, I do that every week.
What'd you distro hop to, dude?
Ubuntu 1804.
And you like it?
And yeah, I mean, I like KDE.
Well, I'm on Neon, so I agree. I like KD.
Yeah.
All right, Joel, last word.
Okay, so you can find me around the socials. Find me in Telegram. Also, I'll probably be on the live stream of Linux Unplugged on Tuesday afternoons. Also participating in the IRC over there, and just see me across the webs. And thanks to the developer of the Trinity OS that you were talking about today. Thanks to you for showing up today.
Oh, no problem, Joe. Been a pleasure.
EB, last words. Be nice.
All right, and welcome to Spatry's Cup of Linux. I think it's fantastic that Spatters is back. I'm sure Toss is made up. I would also like to start a campaign to get Scrapjaw's icon or emoji changed to a Venus flytrap.
Derek, last words.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to Present Arms, both for his Trinity PC Linux OS spin that he does. He built me a custom spin of PC Linux OS just for me using my OpenBox configs about 2 months ago. And he worked really hard on that. I didn't ask him to, but he knows I love OpenBox. So I've been running that on one of my drives in my IC dock for a couple of months now, his OpenBox spin. So I want to thank him for that. Just a great guy and great job. So
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, Gideon, last word.
While Trinity wasn't really for me, I mean, it's not my favorite, I can certainly see the appeal, and you did a great job with it.
No, thank you, Gideon. Much appreciated.
All right. I would like to say thank you again, Present Arms, for everything you do with Trinity, but also for sticking with us tonight, because some of us were rougher than others, EP.
It's perfectly fine, Rocco. It's been a pleasure. It's been a great night. I've just got all the criticism on board, it's all good.
No, it wasn't a go at Present. I'm sure he does a wonderful job. You're having a go at me when Scrapjaw's already done 10 flies. Really? Really?
I'd also like to thank each and every one of you for showing up, because without every one of you here, it would be nothing.
Thank
so
you,
appreciate
Rocco.
it.
Thank you, Rocco.
Thanks.
And if you haven't checked it out yet, I created tonight a Big Daddy Linux live Telegram group. So if you haven't joined that, join that. The link, it will be in the description of the YouTube video that I will add it to it. It is t.me/Big Daddy Linux live. And what the plan is with that is to relay all the information from the stream, whether it be links for what distro we're going to be checking out, the Zoom link, the YouTube link, and all that. So, plus chatting away about how everything's going through the week.
Cool.
All right. That'll wrap it up.
Rocco's still the best show on the web, mate, by a country mile.
Yep.
Thank you. And we will see you guys next week.
Take it easy, everybody.
All right.
Guys.
Have a great holiday.
Yeah.
Yep.